Met you in the winter when I was a mystery. It was cold, but I was full of fire. And you said you liked my wild eyes and strong mind. You were like sunshine. Oh.
Hi, my name's Trever Shirin, and I want to talk a little bit about dating. There's something really interesting that I've found to be true more often, especially in my counseling office, is that there are a lot of individuals who are dating, especially in high school and college, and even later on in life too, who don't have a clear idea of why they're dating. Now, you might hear that and think like, well, how dumb is that to not know why you're dating? You're dating so that you don't have to be alone, or maybe to find somebody who you want to marry. And I think those are fine reasons. I think those are great reasons. But I wonder, even for you, how often or when was the last time that you asked yourself, why am I pursuing a romantic relationship? Now, this can apply for anybody who is currently in a relationship or looking for a relationship, because I think that this question adds so much more value to those relationships by simply reflecting on, what is my goal here? What is the reason that I am investing myself into this pursuit, or this time, or this person? If you are like many people who have never really asked yourself that question as intently as I am encouraging you to ask, I want you to sit down and to journal out, what are the motivations and the drives to pursuing a romantic relationship? Is it because as a single person, or if you weren't in a relationship, you would feel lonely? And what does that say about what that relationship has to mean in order to be successful? Maybe you should even ask yourself, what is a successful relationship? If you're in dating relationships, is a successful dating relationship a committed relationship, marriage, or partnership? Or can a successful relationship be having as much fun as possible and learning about yourself and what you need from a partner? This is the kind of idea that I have for dating relationships. I think that a successful dating relationship, and one of the purposes that is most helpful to us in pursuing a romantic relationship, is to learn about ourselves. Who am I? What is true about me as a person, and what is true about me as a partner? What kind of partner do I need? What characteristics or personality traits or things do I need in a partner, or things that I really can't have in a partner? And then ultimately just have fun. I think there can oftentimes be so much pressure placed on a romantic relationship. Now, this can obviously go the opposite direction to one night stands, and I wouldn't necessarily consider those a intentional romantic relationship, but I think that sometimes we are too intense in this, and the purpose is so specific to what the relationship is supposed to look like down the road. I think this is even true in marital relationships, where the pressure to have children is placed on those individuals, and we lose out on some of the opportunity to have fun and to grow as a couple, rather than to just jump into the next stage, because that's what's being pressured on us. Now, this first question, what am I learning about myself? This one is actually super, super important, because it doesn't just start in a romantic relationship. I think it starts when we're pursuing a romantic relationship, and between and after. This is a question that is meaningful for us in our entire lives. But when we think about romantic relationships, asking ourselves what we're learning about ourselves, am I super romantic, or do I tend to be a little bit more distant? What am I learning about my attachment to other people? And that's a bigger conversation that we will have more information on in the collective, about attachment styles. But asking about, like, how am I attaching to another person? How is this relationship different than other relationships, and why? You might even ask yourself, what things are most important to me in my life? A common example of this is that oftentimes in evangelical communities, there are individuals who pursue each other, and one is really, really stable at home and wants to be close to family, and is really plugged in with their church group. And the other person is really feeling a call for missions work and to go out of the country and to work in different nations. And they start to partner up and pursue romantic relationships because other things are really working. And these perspectives are not being touched on or not explored or whatever. And then they come to the point where that serious commitment is appropriate and starting to be discussed more. And one of those two people, if they feel very convicted that this is the way that they're supposed to go, they're going to have to compromise on that conviction in order to stay in the relationship. Now, this is sort of a dramatic example, but I think you can see how understanding what's most important to you, the things that you don't want to compromise on. So that might be your physical boundaries or your emotional boundaries, your spiritual beliefs. It might be the location that you're in or the career that you're engaged with. All of these things are important, but which ones are the ones that you are unwilling to compromise on? Where a perfect partner could come across and you would not be able to pursue that if it meant leaving this thing. And maybe for you, having a romantic relationship is so important that there are no other convictions that you feel you can't compromise on. The second question, what are you learning about the kind of partner that you need? This also plays into the idea of what are their convictions. You know, I know for myself that I really enjoy Colorado Springs. And so a partner for me would have to also really enjoy being in Colorado Springs. That's important to me. It might also mean spiritual convictions. It might mean work, or it might mean all sorts of things, but maybe going past some of the categorical elements and thinking about things such as physical appearance. I think that oftentimes in our culture, we get this conversation very, very wrong. And I think we do that in either putting too much weight to this idea or not giving enough. Because I think that there are times when we're not honest with ourselves about what we are attracted to in physical appearance and personality. And when we get those two mixed up, or if we give too much weight to one and kind of ignore another, we're going to start seeing some conflict in our own selves when we're interacting with those kind of people. And so this doesn't mean lay out a list of all the physical traits that you're looking for in another person, but having an idea of like, what am I looking for? So that I'm not just jumping into whatever relationship appears. I'm actually able to say, you know what, this is one of the reasons that I'm really attracted to this person, because I've found for myself that this element of a person is really attractive to me. It might mean, and this is one of the ones for me, I need somebody who makes me laugh. That was one of the big things that I learned through my dating relationships was very important to me. And I learned that by dating individuals who did make me laugh and realizing how good that was for me as a person, how good that was for the ability we had to build a relationship. And also being in relationships with people who didn't really make me laugh and noticing that that was such a huge void where there were other things that were really good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been in the relationship. But that missing element of somebody who can make me laugh was so big that it meant that this relationship couldn't really continue past a certain point. You might find that in your relationship with your romantic partner, some of these voids exist that are really painful. And I'd encourage you to be honest with yourself and with that person and to try to pursue those things together. Try to have fun in the midst of this, but be really intentional. I need more laughter in our relationship. I need more conversation or more vulnerability, or I really need from you to speak truth over me because I'm in a season of life where that's not happening very often. These are the kind of conversations that can grow a relationship exponentially. And finally, the idea of have fun. I think that we assume sometimes that dating relationships are supposed to be fun. But I wonder how often any of us has ever been told that a dating relationship should be fun, that even dating in a committed relationship should be fun, not administrative or not super serious. I think that sometimes we miss out on this and we do it naturally where we just have fun, but their intentionality is on these serious things, not so much on the fun things. And by relieving some of the pressure of this relationship has to be X, Y, or Z, and instead allowing the relationship's purpose to be one of learning about myself, learning about partner, and having as much fun as possible, I think can actually allow some of those serious conversations to happen more intentionally. My final note of encouragement and challenge is that this is very much my perspective. This is not a perspective that is universal or even backed by loads and loads of research articles and expertise. This is simply something that I have seen in my practice, in my own life, in the lives of people that I'm in relationship with, that I think can be really helpful and really meaningful. At the end of the day, what I think is actually most beneficial to you, rather than just adopting a certain philosophy of dating or saying, oh, Trevor said it's this way, I'm going to just do that, is to ask yourself the bigger questions. What is the purpose of dating? What am I looking for in these relationships? Why am I pursuing this? You might find that you're pursuing romantic relationships because otherwise you feel lonely. Maybe that's a good reason, and maybe it actually means that you should stay single a little bit longer to kind of figure out what that is and where it comes from, rather than covering it up with a romantic relationship. I think we do that oftentimes too, and we try to fix things in our own lives or to solve problems in our lives by dating somebody. Fortunately and unfortunately, no one is able to do that for you. There's not a single person other than you on this planet that is able to enter into your life and fix things. Sometimes we enter into a relationship with somebody because we think that we can fix them. And while change is absolutely possible in a relationship, I think that there are some limitations to that change depending on how willing that other person is to change. And so for us, we have to be willing to do the change on our own. And that might mean outside of the relationship or before the relationship. This is my philosophy. And it's come from a lot of experience of my own, of the people around me, of client work. And so I do believe that it's well informed and very helpful, but it's also a very personal philosophy. And I'd encourage you not to just take my philosophy because I'm a counselor and an educator, but to really think about what is your philosophy of dating? What is the purpose of dating for you? And to carry that into your relationships and to be honest with yourself in the midst of it. You might find that you come up with some things that are really hard or some complicated situations in your current relationships that you feel unequipped to be able to handle. And I want to say, first and foremost, that's hard. Those are really hard places to be in life. It's not super enjoyable to be in those uncomfortable spaces. And also, you do not have to do it alone. I would highly encourage you to reach out to a therapist and to be able to sit down with somebody who's able to help you explore these questions and to be honest with you in the midst of your honesty with yourself. And if you're in a relationship right now and you just need a first step, my main encouragement would be go do something fun. Anything fun. Try to enjoy time with that person, enjoy yourself, enjoy them, enjoy life and the world around you just for a moment. Allow those problems to be set aside for a moment. We're not ignoring them, but we want to pursue something that is bonding, something that is meaningful to our relationship and to the strength that we can have in the midst of that. So go have fun.